Hey y'all, I'm Peyton. Turns out that when we come to college, a lot of us have roommate issues. I would be one of those people. But if you're like me and you have roommate issues, then you know that clearly we're not the problem. It's our roommates. Roommates suck. But thanks to COMM theory, I've had the ability to create what I like to call Peyton's pamphlet for potentially problematic interpersonal communication. I will be using expectancy violations theory in my pamphlet. I will apply this theory to the awkward social situations or interpersonal communications between me and my former roommates. I will use the names roommate A, roommate B, and roommate C instead of their real names just for privacy's sake. Expectancy violations theory was created by Judee Burgoon and attempts to explain one's reactions to unexpected behavior of their peers. There are three core concepts of expectancy violation theory: expectancy, violation valence, and communicator reward valence. Expectancy is further broken down into context or cultural norms, relationship factors such as similarity, familiarity, and liking, and communicator characteristics, which include demographics such as sex, age, and place of birth, as well as personal and physical features. Violation valence is the perceived positive or negative value assigned to a breach of expectancies, regardless of who the violator is. Communicator reward valence is the sum of positive and negative attributes brought to the encounter, plus the potential reward or punishment in the future. After moving in, I noticed that my roommate wasn't taking a shower. So this is roommate A. I mean, that's cool. Sometimes skipping a day, that's fine. Like, I skip days too. But then I noticed that she hadn't showered for a couple days. I started counting. This girl went 13 days. 13 days without a shower?
Is this real life?
Contextually, I was pretty violated. I live in an American society. We value physically pretty, clean-kept people. And I mean, I know we're at App State, we're in North Carolina, we're in a granola school, but come on. 13 days? 13 days? 13 days? 13 days? 13 days? 13 days? No. Violation valence was totally negative. The positives just could not outweigh the negatives. And I moved out. Peyton's pamphlet doesn't really have much to say about roommates that don't shower. So when your personal space is violated, that's something that you can talk about. That's something that you can communicate and use interpersonal communications to sit down and lay out those boundaries with people. But when your roommate doesn't shower, you're just shit out of luck. The very first time I met roommate B, she looked at me and she said, "Are you a gamer?"
Is this real life?
I knew it was gonna be a little bit different with roommate B. After I moved in with her, I wanted to let her know about my pet turtle, Henrietta. I said, "Hey, is it okay if I have my turtle here? She sits in the window, she doesn't make any noise, like, is that cool?" And she looked at me and she said, "Yeah, I have my plant here."
Is this real life?
My expectancies were completely violated, but it was hysterical. I mean, here's this girl who introduces herself as a gamer. She's not a hardcore gardener, and all of a sudden she's like, "Here's my pet plant, here's 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 my pet plant." My violation valence, completely positive, because it was completely hilarious. But I was willing to spend 3 more months with her because when I weighed my options, a weird gamer who showered daily was way better than what I had formerly lived with. I chose to make the pamphlet pretty clear cut on this one. Burgoon states that all humans are predisposed to adapt to each other. Interaction adaptation theory is an analysis of how people adjust their behavior approach with another's behavior that doesn't mesh with what's needed, with what's anticipated, or what's preferred. I needed a place to stay in college. Yeah, I preferred a regular roommate. That would have been great, but I adapted because of my needs. I think that if the problem with roommates is simple or more trivial than an unhygienic roommate A, then adjusting should be extremely simple. I finally make it to Clemson. Luckily, since I was a transfer student, I didn't have to live on campus. On this perfect day, nothing's standing in my way. On this perfect day, when nothing can go wrong. Roommate C was super messy. Growing up, the house was always spotless. Now my expectations were violated because it was so different from what I'm used to at home. I expect it to be common courtesy and decency that when you live in a small space with other people, you clean up after yourself. Violation valence, it was negative for me. When I think of communicator reward valence, I think about the time, that one day, when I discovered I was passive aggressive. I always tweet my feelings. It turns out that she found my Twitter, and it turns out that she went through months worth of tweets and discovered that I was talking about that one roommate who was constantly a mess. But suddenly, it became extremely easy to get that kitchen cleaned. I think this is probably the easiest entry in the pamphlet. Cleaning up after yourself is one of the easiest talks that you can have with your roommate. So if all else fails, just throw out the pamphlet and do what I did. As of July 1st, 2013, I will have my very own one-bedroom apartment. On this perfect day, nothing's standing in my way. I went through took me 8 roommates to figure out that I'm just better off alone. I think that everyone, actually, not just college roommates, I think everyone would benefit greatly from learning about expectation violations theory, and definitely, without a doubt, interaction adaptation theory. They say if you can't beat them, join them. But they also say can't live with them, can't live without them. Oh, I can live without them.